downtown Main Street, it's Disney's House of Mouse.
A lady for my laddie.
Come on, think.
I hereby declare a state of emergency. Code Black.
Black? Huh. That's the worst color there is. No offense there, Carl.
I get it all.
Hey guys, welcome to Cartoon Chat. We are back after a very long hiatus. I'll call this Season 2, I guess. I'm joined today with Mark Warren. Find him on Canine Biscuits on YouTube. How you doing, man? Bunsen's the Beast and For That Parents. On the same day that we have this coming up to the channel here, they're going to have a crossover. So, Bunsen the Beast, For That Parents.
The title is... The
title is fairies versus beasts, you know. This thing is apparently going to be just Bunsen crossing into the world of Fairly Odd Parents, and that's pretty much it. It's the problem I have, though, before I get to you here, the problem I have with this is you don't release a short that features Danny Phantom, Tough Puppy, Fairly Odd Parents, and Bunsen's Beast, and then downgrade to just Fairly Odd Parents and Bunsen. It destroys the taste and the actual hype for anything like that might be exciting about this.
That had to be a short. That was such a good short too, though. That's a thing. It's like that's why we're mad. It's like
it could have been an hour. It could have been 15. It could have been 30. You know,
they made a whole movie. You know, like they made a whole crossover movie between Thornberrys and Rugrats.
Yeah.
They put that in theaters.
Go wild.
and they put that in theaters. That wasn't even a TV movie special. It was like.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you look at Nick's crossover background. This is the first crossover in 11 years. The last one was the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, but yeah, they've had very great crossovers. Very weird crossovers. I think that the Wild Thornberrys made sense, but you know, you look at it comparatively to Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, and then you look at this compared to what Butch Hartman put together last week, and it's just a giant contrast. You know.
Actually, yeah. Now thinking about it, Danny Phantom never actually had a crossover.
No.
Besides the Nicktoons Unite games, but like he deserved a crossover.
Yeah, no, Danny Phantom definitely deserved a crossover. I wish it was like My Life as a Teenage Robot or something. I don't know. That would have been weird. Actually,
they should have just threw him in Jimmy Timmy Power 3. Just
that would have been nice. That would have been good.
Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 3. We'll probably talk more about this later. They gave up it's like they could just throwing more. They should just throwing more stuff in there. But we'll get
any other character.
Yeah,
literally any other character. Cat Scratch. You know, you can just pull anyone.
But this is a discussion for another time because we have a lot to talk about the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour next time.
Right. But you know, Fairies versus Beast. Maybe it might be good, but I mean, you brought something when we talked about this a while ago. This could have the potential to be good, but Bunsen as a Beast doesn't actually have any world building done yet. It's early.
The thing what are exciting about crossovers is like you throw out all the references and like the character from the world that doesn't exist in that world. Will respond. The character from one media will respond to like this media and acknowledge some like of the flaws or like how weird things are.
Exactly.
Because he's not from this world. And he will never and he's not gonna live in this world. So he can just like make fun. Like they can just acknowledge everything and make fun of it all they want.
Right.
And that's just the fun of crossovers.
There should be a point to both of them. You know, there should be a point to have both of them crossing over.
And they do and they compare things too.
Right.
It's like this is not like this. Why is this like here? Why is this not like like what I do?
Even and the problem is that Bunsen's a beast. Bunsen is a brain dead alien that doesn't know anything, so he can do anything, and there's no reason for him to be relevant to a crossover. Even Teen Titans Go versus Powerpuff Girls has a better reason to have a crossover than this does. You know, and that sucks. It's very odd, and it just is weird that we choose that. And again, going back to Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, there's a reason. The dynamic, the contrast between the scientific and agile brain of Jimmy and Timmy, who's very different. makes for a very interesting comparison.
Yeah.
So
Is like I guess Cartoon Network did the same thing with Teen Titans Go and Powerpuff Girls, but like not only like is because Powerpuff Girls had a crossover when the show was still new and developing,
right.
But like even a couple episodes still out at the time, at least the new Powerpuff Girls. Also like they still have the history of their older stuff to go back on for reference sake if needed. I mean, this is like you might as well would have like should have just like introduced Bunsen in Fairies and then just make Fairies a spin-off or something. Or
that would have been very interesting. Or Bunsen and Poof just have a spin-off adventure. Have that be a spin-off. Of Fairy
give them ideas.
I mean, and I think that's actually better than Bunsen the Beast. So I'll give them good ideas.
Well, that's not you're saying that one. That's hard.
Sure. I mean, this is the same company that's like, oh yeah, let's do Planet Sheen and then not reference any of the characters that you guys love and enjoy.
Okay, I think I probably watched Bunsen over Planet Sheen, to be honest.
I think anyone would watch Bunsen over Planet Sheen.
Planet Sheen was bad.
It was awful. One thing that and we'll talk about this, but one thing about Sheen in just the normal Jimmy Neutron is when he's not extreme, and then when you don't have it to such a stupid level that everyone around him is stupid, and if he's just the comic relief off to the side, it's fine. He was perfect there. And just that also was just a massive contrast to the way that he is in his own show. That they failed horribly in Planet Sheen. But that's just, that's the thing that everyone like knows at this point. But let's get off to the next thing here. I wanted to talk about this because this happened over the time that CartoonChat has ended, and not ended, but, took a break. Harvey Beaks will not be renewed. Nick pulled the plug, and now we're not getting Harvey Beaks. I think this sucks because, of course, you have Harvey Beaks. I thought that they were on a resurgence, honestly. I thought Harvey Beaks was the first, came out 2015. Loud House came out in 2016. Obviously, Bunsen, not a great series, but you have these Nicktoons coming back, crawling back at a time when you had Fairly OddParents as a bland series, SpongeBob just being too repetitive and too bland. I think that now it's like they're sort of crumbling and they're destroying the possibility of even having an animation or Nicktoon lineage. Like, I mean, I talked to Austin, it's like Nicktoons used to mean something, It used to mean quality cartoons from Nickelodeon. Now it's just...
They don't even care. Wherever it's rating and merchandising, it's like... they're gonna keep showing it, because same thing in Cartoon Network, Teen Titans Go, it's like...
Yeah.
Like, how often did they keep rerunning Breadwinners when it was hot?
That's the thing. Yeah. These schedule
that cartoon came after Harvey Beaks, and that wasn't.
Both of those before, like 2013.
I think that was after, because that certainly wasn't a Renaissance.
Before. I mean, it was
it?
Breadwinners, because Breadwinners was in the era of and we can research this, but I think obviously we're not like, oh yeah, quality cartoon here. Breadwinners came before or after, but Breadwinners was
Harvey Beaks.
Was that series that was not all that great. It showed us that Nick wasn't trying to improve, and it was just the same old, and it was disappointing. If I can get this loaded up, I can. Breadwinners came out. It's already over, obviously. It ended in 2016. But
2015, March 2015 for Harvey Beaks. Breadwinners.
Here's some information.
I don't know about Timmy. I don't like that. September 12, 2016. Final episode date. Crap.
Yeah, I'm looking for the actual. Here we go. I got Wikipedia up right now. If I can just get this loaded up. Through the power of the internet. Original network, Nickelodeon in 2014. So yeah, it came 1 year before Harvey Beaks. But yeah, it was weird because you
thought it came after.
No, but I think the reason why is because they kept schedule filling that all the time, and that's the same issue with Teen Titans Go, where we have so many episodes of Teen Titans going back to back. You'd think that was brand new. It's been out since 2013. It's one of the older series now. When you have regular show ending, you have Adventure Time ending, you have Gumball ending, and so yeah, we're in this sort of odd status where Nicktoons obviously means nothing. You have Loud House, which is their only great cartoon.
Yeah.
And they're sort of obviously relying more on their live action than ever before. Like, it used to be a good shared content, thing. In the 90s and the 2000s, it was shared content. You'd have Danny Phantom Avatar. The list goes on and on. Like, so many to name.
I'd say Disney has a good selection when it has cartoons.
Disney has a great selection, but they also do schedule filling. Yeah. I didn't know that, but they also do schedule filling as well. So it's just a weird thing.
The only thing they have running is Milo and Star. That's it for cartoons. I think everything else is just live action.
They have Milo, Star. They have a couple other ones, but
are they just like throwaway Canadian animation?
They're not Canadian animation, and then licensed animation, like of course anime and that sort of thing from other countries.
Yeah, so it's not really much. It's just
not much.
So like again, just Milo and Star then.
Yeah, hopefully that turns the tide for Disney, because hopefully DuckTales and Big Hero 6 turn the tide, because we need a couple more that are going to be good. I can't wait.
Hopefully, Big Hero 6 should probably bring back the craving for action action animation.
Yeah, the team behind Kim Possible is doing this, and it's going to be traditional 2D animation, not Flash. No, not Flash stuff. To classic traditional 2D animation.
Better look good.
I hope it does. It looks. They had a little render of it, or I believe there's a render of it where it looks like it's going to be not Atlantis style, but very much like Kim Possible.
That costs too much money.
Not Atlantis like 3D, but Atlantis like flat 2D. But that probably
would still cost too much money. That's Atlantis too fluent.
Yeah. Also Atlantis, another thing we can talk about, but
also like a lot. Disney's like old '90s cartoons were too fluent because I heard they overdid their budget on the older cartoon. Yes, like Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales. That's why their animation looked so good back then. They overdid their budget.
Right.
They spent more money than they need to for these cartoons.
That's ridiculous.
And it's like you got more like.
Hey Bill, why is the budget $200,000 over what you gave you? Is that a new feather on that duck? Is that why? Oh, waste of money.
Because look at the later cartoons that came later, like Buzz on Maggie or like Brandy Mr. Whiskers, how they're more angular and
right.
And like even Kim Possible and Proud Family is more simpler.
Mm-hmm. One thing I want to go back to Nicktoons here, because the last thing I want to talk about before we get to our main story, our main thing is El Tigre. All right, El Tigre turns 10. That's crazy.
That show was so cool before Donald Trump took it down.
He built a wall around Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon.
That was like the last episode. They built the wall. El Tigre couldn't take down the wall.
Right.
And they couldn't eat. They kept him away from their tacos, and he died of starvation.
Yeah.
He couldn't get any more American jobs. So he had no shelter.
Well, maybe things are better over there. No, but this is one of the things where it's like you have El Tigre, you look at the sort of end of the 2000s, 2007, which was obviously a big year for animation loss. You had 2007, 2008, a giant cutoff in just animation in general, Cartoon Network,
mostly for Nick
and Nickelodeon, and definitely Nickelodeon.
I know 2006 was like the death year of Cartoon Network because CNN wrote, but like I forgot where it was. It's Climb Crawlback.
For what, Nick or
Cartoon Network?
Cartoon Network came back in 2010 because you had Chowder, you had Flapjack, they were like 2007, 2008, and they kept going until the decade turned. But it was Adventure Time regular show 2010 where it really ramped up. That was what got everyone excited and brought Cartoon Network back. But you look at the sort of end of the middle of the 2000s, and you have action animation. We're just like spoiled for choice. Today we don't have much action animation. It's all comedy and cheap flash almost for the most part, outside of a few. But in the late 2000s, you had so many action animated series: Ben 10, El Tigre, Kim Possible, Danny Phantom, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I mean, I'm trying to keep going here, but
yeah.
But you know, it's ridiculous now how it's shifted in just this decade. Where you would think, oh, we would still have this train going. Even as a kid, I thought El Tigre was an awesome series.
Oh, I remember a series. I remember another Nick series that nobody like ever remembers.
What?
It was a cartoon called Tak and the Power of Juju. It was like based off. Based off their video game that nobody cared about.
Yeah, that was weird. It was weird.
It was like it was a video game nobody cared about, and then like it turned into a TV show and nobody also cared about. So it was like they were like trying desperately to make this series popular, to make this character popular.
Yeah, that was a 3D animated, right?
Yeah, it was so like it was weird because like they like Nick just came out of nowhere with their own. I guess they wanted their own video game IP. They like, but like it wasn't getting. I heard like. I guess it got like good reviews, but like it wasn't really getting anywhere in terms of recognizability. And like they just made a show about it, still didn't go anywhere.
Right. I mean, it just sort of stalled out, and I mean, I remember seeing it on Nick, and I even changed the channel. It just wasn't something that ever interested me. I just remember seeing because it was an odd character. I thought, you know, just a weird looking character.
It was a whatever show. It was a filler brain show.
Right.
It wasn't anything amazing. I don't know. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so maybe rewatching it, maybe it's crap. I haven't really heard.
Maybe it might be the Academy Award winner that we all wanted.
You know, it might be. I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like I haven't watched it in a long time. I don't feel like watching it anytime soon either. So
right. But no, El Tigre. I remember being a kid, being excited every time this thing turned on. I was every time they would show it, I was hyped. It was awesome. I thought it was fantastic as a series. Just a fun adventure series, a fun action adventure series. The characters were stupid. The adventures were stupid. The grandfather, the dad, they were stupid. It was hilarious. It was a good time. And I remember being on and just being off. And then, of course, Nicktoons picked it up and they kept airing it on Nicktoons every once in a while, but you wouldn't find it on Nicktoons because they were always airing Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was awesome, but I wanted more El Tigre. So, you know, you had that weird just thing where El Tigre was on, but again, it only lasted like a year, I think.
Yeah, that was such an interesting. It has such an interesting concept that barely no show really uses anymore. It's just like that you can have a hero who can be like a hero or a villain, and like it was executed so well. I mean, the like shows usually do it by having a hero who's just an anti-hero, but it's still just like not really as well. It's just like as well as diverse as like El Tigre is. Like he can, like either he doesn't care. He can either be a hero or a villain.
Yep, he can shoot. Yep,
it's like it's no seriousness, no serious conflicting character seriousness to it. It's just like it can just be whatever.
Right. Additionally, you know, it was diverse. I mean, we talked about prod filming earlier, but it was also diverse. And I think that when you look at the action animation series that were out there wasn't that much in terms of diversity. Just to put it out there, and you know, it was awesome to see
the show is so cool. I don't know if it's made by a Mexican, but it's not racist. It's racist as heck.
Well, no,
they're throwing tacos everywhere.
I mean, one of the cool things was, of course, the guys behind it did Book of Life.
Yes,
you know, so it kept going.
Got like a little 1 second cameo in there.
Right, and so you know, it's cool to see that they kept going, and I think there was a series, Victor and Valentino. I think that teaser is another one that brings diversity back.
That would be cool.
A movie, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been nice. I think that
Nick wouldn't give him the budget for it still.
No, but I mean,
because they have the rights.
You see that there's potential. I mean, we all, as we know, El Tigre had the potential to have a feature-length movie and still be enjoyable and have that enjoyment. So, yeah, just an awesome series. And 10 years old is crazy. That means that we're getting old, man. But
We've been getting old.
I mean, we've always been getting old. We're just turning into aged people. But before we move to the main story, I also wanted to talk about Academy Award winner for Best Animated Feature, Zootopia. Zootopia won Best Animated Feature. I didn't expect that. I mean, you had, in the beginning thought that it was going to win. Like, this was way back. This was back in just years, like, not years, it was in the beginning or middle of the year. When you saw Zootopia, you said, okay, that's going to be the one that wins. And I thought that Kubo would easily outpace it. And it's like, all right, well, there's no way Zootopia would be remembered and that sort of thing. It's like March or April release date in 2016.
Zootopia won.
Zootopia won animated feature. So yeah.
Got it.
What do you think about that, man?
That's good. Yeah. I mean, like, this year was a tough choice. I mean, you got, like, because you had Moana and Kubo and, like, 2 movies that I never heard of.
Right.
So, like, I'd probably say Kubo should have won for originality, but, like, I get, like, Zootopia doesn't make sense because, like, it was just how clever, it's just, like, the cleverness of where it took its conflict.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think that no one's really unhappy for the win of Zootopia. There's no like, oh well, this should have easily deserved it. It was like, okay, well, Zootopia is a great movie. All the contenders look like they were great movies. All the big budget ones, you know, Kubo, Zootopia, Moana, were great movies.
Yes.
It wasn't like you had a winner that was bad. It wasn't like it was Frozen against Kubo, because then I think there'd be a little bit of outrage.
And there's also those other 2 we never freaking heard of.
Right. So you had a packed field, and I think that it was a great job. I think it was a cool award won to Zootopia. Let's get to the main story here, and that is, of course, the
I like how you didn't prepare a PowerPoint this time.
What was that?
I like how you didn't prepare a PowerPoint this time.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know. Nothing. No, I'm not 100% set here. But yeah, of course, a couple days ago we watched all 3 of them just to get a sort of quick catch up of what we wanted to talk about, because you know this was the trilogy crossover that is thought of as a really good, not trilogy, but the first was really great and a cool concept of crossing over 2 series that are dynamically different in terms of animation, in terms of style, and just in terms of characters. You know, Jimmy Neutron and his team obviously started off as a movie.
Yes.
Fairly OddParents completely differently. It's like you see 2 completely different backgrounds and 2.
Fairly OddParents started off as like it was like a cartoon. It was like one of those pilots that are like I don't know how to explain it. It's like what's a cartoon on Cartoon Network. It's like it was
just a little short. Like
it was just a little short. But then Nickelodeon picked it up and they wanted a series. The same thing happened to Chalk Zone, I remember.
Yeah. So yeah, just very dynamically different backgrounds before they got into becoming these big series. And like, again, Nickelodeon in the mid-2000s was a juggernaut. You had multiple series. Chalk Zone was one of them. You had Chalk Zone, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Danny Phantom, obviously Fairly OddParents, Jimmy Neutron, SpongeBob was good at the time. You had just a massive number of Nicktoons that had high potential to keep going and keep bringing brand recognition to the channel. And so, you know, Jimmy Timmy Power Hour comes around, it's like very awesome idea, very awesome premise, very awesome just in general.
I like that name too, Power Hour.
I mean, they probably could have gone with, I wonder how many different names they chose. You know, you had Brains versus what, like Brains
Science versus Magic.
Science versus Magic. That could have been pretty cool. Science versus Magic.
That's what they kept saying during the trailer. He said Science versus Magic.
Wishes versus experiments versus what, I don't know. Magic versus experimentation.
They kept saying Magic versus Science.
Gotcha. But no, that was the lead up was cool. I remember being a kid getting ready for the hype of having these 2 series that had become these massive, awesome cartoons on Nickelodeon to cross over. And, you know, just in general, I want to talk about the first one. The first one is where we really see all sort of the references get pulled in, all of the cool dynamic differences get pulled in.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there are many things that happen throughout the first episode of this 3-episode series here that was really cool, you know. And obviously there were things that we wanted, like for example, the 3rd episode is the one in which we actually get them working together, but having them fight against each other or just be very different was what was cool about the first. When Timmy asks to go into the best lab in the universe, and he lands in, you know,
it was like the second one creates a loophole because they keep saying they're different universes. Right. So it's like, you know, when you go back to the first one saying he was the greatest lab in the universe, it's like,
what do you guys kind of have to explain that?
Yeah,
but you know, it'll pass for 2000.
Well, it makes sense. I like it. I'll take it as a Nickelodeon universe, and it doesn't make sense. I can dig that. Jimmy Neutron is the smartest person in the Nick universe.
If SpongeBob was a little more grounded, I think it would have been cool to see a Sandy, Jimmy crossover. You know.
What would eventually happen? Would have been cool. Like eventually, like Jimmy Neutron, like Jimmy would like eventually create like a ghost portal, and like out and like his ghost portal, he goes inside his ghost portal and leaves out somebody else's.
Oh my
gosh. In the Danny Phantom's world.
That dude.
See, like, what the heck? This is just like Timmy's world.
This is just like yeah.
And like, he just makes that comment. Like,
that would have been so cool. Wait, do you think that the best lab would have been the Fenton basement, Sandy's lab, or Jimmy's
lab? Of course, he has the smartest brain.
That's true. I guess that's like
Phantom's lab is just focused on Ghost.
True. It'd have been cool for them to jump from.
And his parents aren't that smart either, so.
Right. Man, it would have been cool if they like referenced each one, like, oh, let's go to this lab, and they go to this lab.
I don't even think Danny Phantom existed around this time, did it?
2004. Same year.
Was it?
Yeah. She got launched in 2004.
Oh well, it was still a thought.
Yeah.
It was still a sperm.
It would have been new for the
Not a sperm. It was a developing baby.
It was a developing baby, but it was kicking some butt. It was pretty popular. But anyway, first episode, really cool. They're just things that happened throughout it. Where it's just Timmy's such a doofus just throughout that he ends up like, oh well, let's make a game that like, and some of these things are just fun and weird, like, oh, let's turn Goddard into this game, into this
it just like starts, the beginning just starts off with Timmy just being kind of a dick. He just like tries to take over Jimmy's lab, and Jimmy's like, dude, what the fuck you doing? Get out of my lab. I don't know what the fuck you are. Give me my shit. He takes his pen, give me my pen, and he just like accidentally warps into Timmy's room. And he's like, where am I? Because like he was like the whole beginning was Jimmy was just minding his own business
the whole time,
just like programming Goddard, and then Timmy comes in and just like makes a mess of everything.
Exactly.
Even though Jimmy effed up Fairy World a little bit, it was still Timmy's fault in the beginning.
Everything led from Timmy not getting his science project done, but still having fairies and not just making something really, Also, another thing that's cool. We talked about the development of, and I think that we can just talk about all three. But I want to talk about. I want to talk about the first, but I want to talk about all three. We see the development of Fairy World. We see the development of, I think the sequel, we really get the sense that both worlds are really developed. We get to see secondary characters like anti-fairies.
Yeah.
In the second one, we really see a world that Fairly OddParents is left behind, a world that obviously Nickelodeon is sort of left behind in terms of animation. When you're talking about just a world that has been built, because everything's just been so simplified now over in Fairly OddParents when you look at it compared to back then. But I really like the fact that you had a sense that, for example, it was weird when you had, what's her name? Cindy. And it's like Timmy just slides upon, and sounds like just slides upon pure idiot, and it's like, oh well, I like you at the end. Like, okay, well, cool, and all right, like it was crazy how Timmy was almost like dumbed down for the entire episode and like not clever. He was cool. No, he was very clever actually. Very clever, but dumbed down. Where it's like, oh, I just wanted to be in this world.
Oh no, he's not dumb because like it's fairly OddParents the weird show because Timmy is either stupid or clever depending on the episode. That's even inconsistent in the show itself.
Right. Yeah, you have that going for it, and it's not helpful, but it is something that where Timmy can sort of almost do anything, not Bunsen's a piece stupid, but can go in a pretty different range of things. Like he can just sit back and watch as Goddard is destroying the whole town because his fairies aren't there. But in obviously Dimsdale, he'd be sort of shocked and not just saying awesome if things happen. Yeah. So like, you had these things. So it's like, but it was cool. Like it was like a boss level. Like, oh well, Goddard grows because of course he destroys things. He wants to kill, and
What bugged me is like, okay, when everybody in Jimmy's universe thought for some reason Timmy Turner was Jimmy Neutron,
except for Cindy.
And but like, okay, Sheen and Carl at least had an explanation. They assumed it was some kind of weird experiment, but his parents thought Timmy was still Jimmy,
right?
For some reason, even though they don't really have much in common. I guess like the blue eyes and the brown hair.
Exactly. Now I'm glad you brought up the parents because one thing I miss is Jimmy Neutron's parents. They were really good comedic, just in terms of comedic timing and just being really cool and just funny. And they work very well. In all three, I think, they work very well. They aren't overused, they aren't underused. It's just perfectly fine where they are. The dad's funny. It just works out fine. And so, I think the first one, like, this is like a recommendation, guys. If you really want to check out a cool trilogy and a cool, like, first crossover, if there's one Jimmy Team Power you want to watch, is the first and probably the second as well. The third is cool because you get to see them.
They're all
they're all cool. You should watch them, but they're just not.
I watched them all. They're like 2 and 3 aren't bad, but like I will get to them. But like it's like the first one is the best out of the 3.
Right.
It just has the better references to throw out. It just has the better moments of them, like of them being like the action sequence, like between the worlds.
Exactly. I think I don't want to cut you off. One of the things that we didn't mention is, and you talked on this a little bit, but Jimmy in Dimsdale and in the fairy world, like there is a bit of suspense. Or at least I remember watching as a kid. There was a bit of suspense when Crocker got into fairy world. Yeah. Incidentally, just because Jimmy doesn't know what's going on and believes in science to such a degree, it's like, oh, fairy world is this, and gets Crocker into fairy world and almost destroys fairies as we know it. So it's like, it was suspenseful. It was cool, action-packed, and awesome. There's of course that cool montage where we get Jimmy building a mech, and so that was pretty cool.
Like with his theme song playing. That was cool. The mech looked
a lot like songs.
Yes,
that's a good one.
Yes, the mech look a lot. The mech look a lot like a mech Dexter built.
Right. Man, Dexter also really good too. We got to talk about a lot of cartoons actually.
Dude, if there was a crossover, I want like some kind of crossover, some kind of like channel collab, like crossover, like a show from one channel crossover with a show from another channel. Just it doesn't matter
what show would you cross over with. What show would you cross over with another show? Actually. Or we could do it for next week's episode.
As of right now, if it had to be made out of what we got at the time of this recording.
Oh, right now, just live, currently presented.
Oh, at the time of this recording of what we got, I'd say, I guess, like... Oh, crap, what is it?
And this is like an hour long, or it's like 30 minutes long?
30 minute.
Gotcha.
Like... I forgot. Okay, probably... I guess I probably had to think to the older days.
Right.
It would probably be like the older American Dragon with Jennifer Lee.
Oh, that'd be very interesting.
That would make the most sense.
Really cool.
Right there.
That's a cool idea. I was thinking more new. I think that you can make a case for, and this is just something that I think a lot of people are sort of clamoring for. I'd like to see a crossover between, like, just the two most popular series right now, Steven Universe and Star. I think that they're just two very similar.
Oh yeah, there.
And they're just like very similar series. I'd like to see them cross over. Have it an hour long. Disney and Turner do something here. I'd like to see that hour long epic crossover battling something. I'd love to see that. Gems and magic.
You get one episode on one channel, you get the other part on the other channel.
Ah, dude. See, that's
no, it's not, and
that's
it's
too
not
difficult.
even, and
That's
it's
too
no,
difficult.
it's not even like one or the other. It's like they're the same episode, but you get different perspectives of the same episode.
That is so cool, and different endings.
We're making our lives suppressing by raising our expectations for like how good this is. We gotta stop while we're ahead.
Exactly. Remember, Teen Titans Go. Always on Cartoon Network. But yeah, Jimmy Power Hour. We get toward the second and third, and we don't have to talk about this in too much detail because they're really good. They're really cool, but they're not as great as just seeing the two on screen for the first time and having them come together. The second time, it's like they're both looking for this Friday the 13th dance, and
Yeah.
Jimmy doesn't.
Dude, I was shocked that they even thought to make a sequel for a crossover, because usually crossover is just like once in a lifetime sort of thing for shows.
Exactly.
But it's like a sequel hour-long special crossover. Not even that, just like 2 sequel hour-long crossover specials. I was like, okay, this is like.
Then they could make 3 of these, but hey, they couldn't make a Danny Phantom and Timmy Turner crossover, and nope. Yeah. But, the second one, it's like Friday the 13th dance, they want to go, and Cindy, Jimmy wants to ask Cindy out, but he doesn't have the, but something, I think, what happens? Professor Calamitous interrupted him before he was able to ask her, and then Timmy appeared, and he asked her. And so, like, the whole thing, like, they just sort of rival against each other.
Yeah, this is
and
like...
it goes into Dimsdale from there. But it's like, things happened in both... It was like you had a conflict in both worlds, and so that was pretty cool. And the only problem, again, with 2 and 3 is, like, they really recycle a lot from 2. When you look at 3, they recycle a lot from 2. But we're talking about 2, obviously.
Yeah.
And it was still a lot of fun. Like, you had, because of course this is where you saw, like, Jimmy had a rocket, and it's like, Timmy's like, oh yeah, I can face you. Let me just make another rocket here, and I do the same thing you're doing. Because, I mean, he has the wit, and this is where we saw wit, and we saw magic, and they were going up against each other. And that turned out...
I like how he just goes behind a tree.
I wish for... Turns out giant rocket just flying away.
How he can invent things so fast?
Right. Yeah, that was number 2. I think can be not forgettable, but it's not as memorable. And the problem with 2 is it just spends a lot of time going nowhere. It's just like Jimmy and Timmy for some reason are separated from each other again. Only the fact that Timmy is trying to show Cindy around the world. And, you forget about the main villain until, like 30 minutes later into the special. Right.
Where the conflict actually happens and, like, the anti-fairies actually released. Because until then, the main characters have, like, nothing to do with the conflict, the villains.
Right.
The antagonist, and like it because like it switches between the focus, like it'll be what's Timmy doing, what Jimmy doing, what the antagonist doing.
Exactly.
The antagonists don't swap into their stories until later.
Way further in, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like we mentioned before, it's like this one is where you get a bit more in terms of lore and content from both series.
Yeah.
But you get it more from, I think, the Fairly OddParents side, where you get, anti-fairies, having anti-Cosmo be there and that sort of thing. That was really cool. I like that. I think that was one of the most memorable parts of the second one. You know, having the anti-fairies be the sort of threat that will face the world and will cause problems and that sort of thing. The fact, I mean, it was sort of weird that it's like, oh, Cosmo and Wanda stop all the anti-fairies and like their wands don't work. Like, so if the okay, so it makes sense because if the anti overbalances the normal, then it turns bad. Okay.
Well, anti-fairy was like blocking. Well, it was like too many. I think they were like blocking the magic field or something. Like it was something like that.
Right.
I mean, it
used to be complex back in the day. We have to freshen up, but you know, the rules used to be really complex. You know, and they actually followed the rules back then, and now they don't. But yeah, number 2 is.
You say they don't follow the rules back then, but they're like, no, they were clearly like.
No, I mean, and now they don't follow the rules.
Oh yeah, that too. But they sometimes they miss the rules too in the show. It was like certain times, like in the special where like they were clearly helping Timmy with the competition of Jimmy trying to get to Cindy.
True. Yeah. Like, oh, you can build a rocket and just get there faster, and you can do this and get there faster. And no.
That's clearly a competition right there.
Right.
They can't help with competitions.
For crossovers, screw the rules. But yeah, number 2. Cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like it's that beginning stalling. It's not even that. It's not even the whole beginning that was bad. It was like
they were still.
It was in between. It was just that part where like. Jimmy, Cindy, when Timmy Turner was trying to show Cindy, like around his world, and Cindy wanted a private place for Timmy to ask, Timmy to ask her to dance.
Right.
And it was like that part was just very stalling.
Very much.
It was kind of really
because it's like, oh, what's Jimmy over? Like you said before, what's Jimmy doing? What's Timmy doing? What's the enemy doing? You don't get really a nice wrap up until
once the conflict kicks in. The special does picks up and like it becomes more enjoyable. I still do like the special. It's just like kind of like we're gonna get to the third one. Is it lackluster compared to the first one?
Right. Now, I want to jump into the third of the trilogy here, the final one, and I think that it's a lot of fun because we finally get both of them working together.
Yes.
We finally get them like, oh, let's work together finally. Let's do some cool stuff. You use magic. I use my brain power, and we actually, are helping and doing stuff. It's like they were kicking butt. They were doing a good job. It was awesome, and it was fun to watch. And it's like, oh, this is what we really wanted out of the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
Yeah.
Like that since the beginning.
It's probably mostly just the first 40 minutes, but like I do like. It's the first 40 minutes, but I do like this one more than the second one.
Gotcha.
Because there's a lot more. You got a lot more teamwork between Timmy and Jimmy.
I mean, there were even more references to it because you had the Crimson Chin section, which was hilarious.
I like that.
A lot of scenes.
Brain blast.
Yeah. But yeah, it just was number 3. I think is fun. It just suffers from.
Those last 20 minutes suffered, or last 15 minutes.
No, last 15 minutes suffered because they make Jimmy. Jimmy loses his intelligence because they take away his brain power, and it's like, and we talked about this as we were watching it. You destroy the character by taking away his brain. Like that is his thing. And I know that the point was there are stakes now because he doesn't have his brain, so now you have to do this.
You take away the magic and the brains, but like.
But I mean, Jimmy's power is his brains. If you take away Timmy's magic, he still has his character.
Yeah.
Jimmy's character is his knowledge and his skill and his just wit.
You take out a main character defeating the purpose of the crossover because you want to see the interaction between the characters.
You might as well have had Bunsen as a beast. You might as well have Bunsen from Bunsen as a Beast in that crossover because he was just as stupid. Like it was irrelevant to have Jimmy in the last 15 minutes. Might as well made
Timmy Cosmo Power Hour.
Exactly. It was just, and that sucks, because it's like, oh well, he's gonna be dumb. He's gonna be as dumb as Timmy. and
Dumbass Cosmo.
Thank you, Dumbass Cosmo, and Timmy's got to call the shots now, and we're not going to get that Avengers sort of battle thing. It was just like, oh, he's dumb for pretty much the majority of it.
Yeah.
When they're doing the final battle, he's pretty much dumb for the majority of it, and so that whole Avengers team up that we saw in the beginning, we're not getting. But I do like how it was like first one is like the beginning. The second one in the trilogy is Civil War. The third one is the Avengers. So pretty cool. Jimmy Neutron Power is definitely one of those crossovers that you have to watch. If you're a '90s kid, you definitely have watched it, or if you haven't, check it out because they have characters that you love and enjoy. If you're new, I think you should probably check out the Jimmy Neutron.
No, actually, no. This third one is Infinity War.
That's actually. Yeah.
Actually, I would say the second one is Age of Ultron. The first one is Avengers.
That's actually better. Yeah. But I'd say if you're new,
we still haven't finished talking about most of this episode because you forgot about talk about the Jerkinator.
True. I mean,
because the thing about this episode was like, Jimmy and Timmy were kind of jerks in this one.
True. Yeah. Like Jimmy doesn't seem to realize he's being a little bit of a douche for the most part. Timmy doesn't seem to realize he's being a douche for the most part.
Well, that's normal.
And it just makes like you said, he changes his perspective, but still,
Timmy's a dick.
And we even saw that in the first crossover, but still,
yeah. It was mostly Jimmy.
It was like just led on, and the characters were their character like in that style just to suit the villain turning into a hateful douche, and like I think that obviously could have turned a spiteful douche. I think that it could have turned in a completely different direction if the characters were actually as they are, which is obviously forgiving and real, and they realize what they're doing and they have intelligence and that sort of thing.
Because the whole point was like their friends, like they were neglecting their friends trying to hang out with each other and stuff. I do like the interaction between like because like this is the first time you get all of Timmy's friends and like
that's actually true. Yeah, I forgot to leave that in. All of Timmy's friends. We got all of Jimmy's friends, but now we have AJ and
Chester.
Thank you, Chester.
Yeah, AJ and Chester hanging out with Sheen, Carl, Cindy, and Lizzie.
By the way, remember when AJ wants to put himself in cryosleep?
Yeah.
What if when he put himself in cryosleep? Okay, I want to pitch this to you. AJ goes in the cryosleep. He wakes up.
In Futurama.
No, he wakes up. He's in the future, where a crazy tyrannical woman is controlling the world, and his friend Timmy Turner needs his help. Channel Chasers. What if that just led it? Because remember, AJ was the guy on the mission. If you remember, in the first part of the thing, where it's like AJ was the guy that was remember he was trying to take the what was he trying to take? It was like the watch.
Oh, I know. Just talking about.
He's trying to take the watch back. That first action sequence in the first 10 minutes of the crossover. I mean, of the thing.
Yeah.
That obviously would have been a far fetch, but still. And plus, the movie didn't come out for the thing didn't come out. I think the year before, 2005. I think. So it was 2006 when the third crossover came. But that still would have been cool. Reference.
Something I like about all three of these specials is like it because like when it comes to crossovers, usually they'll be like mostly like a half an hour or so.
Right.
But like the thing about crossovers is they'll have to be contained in somebody else's show. So like this crossover, say you got like
Teen Titans Go versus Powerpuff Girls. Titans Universe.
That's a Teen Titans Go episode.
Right.
You got the Simpsons Family Guy crossover. That's a Family Guy episode.
Exactly.
This it's his own thing. This is not a Fairly OddParents episode. This is not a Jimmy Neutron episode. This is its own special. And like the best part is you get just as much from both art styles, and they switch art styles.
Right.
And like. It's a really cool crossover to have because their art styles are so different, and they acknowledge that a lot, which is also really cool.
I do like that they give both sides almost equal time to show off, Jimmy's side, and of course Timmy's world. I like that was equal opportunity for both sides. They could have easily gone, oh well, we'll give you guys more time in Timmy's world than Jimmy's, and go into something similar to the nature of a normal and traditional crossover, but that was not the case.
Like that first episode was really fun to that first special was really fun mostly because the part that was so fun was seeing Jimmy go through Timmy's crazy life. Like in the car with Vicky and stuff, and going to school, like getting an F and meeting Crocker and seeing, because he's just commenting how crazy, like how stupid everyone is and how crazy everyone is.
Exactly. Yeah. You said something before about the third movie, and the fact that we see all of his friends actually there. I like the fact that we do get all of his friends, right? We get that point where for two episodes we had Jimmy's friends there, and now we have Timmy's friends finally. I think one of the weird things was, of course, halfway through his friends think that Timmy's being a jerk to them, but in the beginning, Timmy's friends were the jerks for that entire time. Like when Timmy decides to hang out with Jimmy, that's cool because Chester and AJ already said that they were doing other things.
Yeah. No, it was mostly just it was AJ, because Chester was legitimately busy with something, and then he was done like Timmy. He actually came to Timmy.
Oh, okay.
Because he wanted something to do.
He wanted to hang out.
Yeah, and like, but Timmy ignored him, and like I don't know what happened with Jimmy's friends, but like they were hanging out with them in the beginning, and then Timmy was like, "You want to hang out?" Jimmy was like, "Hang out with you."
That was weird. Yeah, that was
okay.
Weird. I was like, why did they could have just said okay? That was kind of weird. That was just.
I thought that was a funny punch.
It was funny.
He was like, me hang out with you. Okay.
It just didn't. No, it was funny. It just didn't seem like Jimmy. It was like, oh, good. That was funny, but
Jimmy's character is treated weirdly in these specials, but like. Sorry. But like, it's only fun enough when like he's usually like commenting on their world.
Exactly.
It's weird. They're still themselves, but like their dialogue and humor matches as if there were characters from that show. Like
exactly.
when you get Jimmy in like the Fairly OddParents world, like his humor, his dialogue, it's still matching as if he was a character from that show.
Right. It's neat. No, that's really cool. That's a really good point. I didn't actually even realize that. Yeah. Huh. But just to sort of wrap up, do you have any other points? I mean, in general, we can talk about a wrap up of everything, but I would just want to say, definitely watch this if you're a 90s kid, because it has, again, characters that you'll like, characters that you'll know, and it's just an awesome...
90s kid.
It's awesome.
I don't think these cartoons came from the 90s, dude.
No, I mean, if you were born in the 90s, grew up,
or if you just grew up with these cartoons.
That's a better way to say that. That's okay.
It's not because these were not born in the 90s.
In the words of Mark, if you grew up with these cartoons, you obviously might have seen this crossover. It's still a cool watch in terms of nostalgia trip. And then, of course, for everyone that's sort of a newcomer, I'd say, Fairly OddParents, but I'd say watch the Jimmy Neutron movie if you don't know anything about Jimmy Neutron. It's been off for a while. I think that you probably should watch.
The show was great. The show was great too.
The movie would give them a pretty good rundown of like, oh, here's Jimmy Neutron character. Here's
a lot. I think it's a lot has developed since the show though. I mean, since the movie though. It's weird to kind of go back to the show because it's so early. Because I remember Cindy was treated like as a dick in that too.
But that's true. But she also is in the show. At times.
Yes. Yeah. It developed more.
It developed by the third one. And that was the weird difference, right? When you went from episode 1 of the Jimmy Neutron Power Hour to the second one, you saw a noticeable difference in the way that Jimmy was interacting with Cindy. It was like almost a contrast between the two.
They also looked different. They also looked different.
Right. So I think maybe you want to watch some filler, some episodes like
Jimmy.
2005 of Jimmy Neutron, if you really want to get into it. But if you just want sort of a simple rundown of it before you know Fairly Odd Parents, that's cool. But if you don't know Jimmy Neutron, you can watch a couple episodes of the TV series, but you can also watch the movie. That'll give you a pretty good rundown and a really good entertainment movie.
Or you can play Nicktoons Unite.
And you can, or you can play Nicktoons Unite.
I had like a bunch of Nickelodeon crossover video games. It was weird.
It was weird. It was cool though. That was the 2000s, you know.
Yeah,
because,
it was cool.
Because now it's all on the they're all now smartphone games and junk.
Yeah,
so.
The idea of those games are cool. I wish they were actual specials because me and the other guys we downloaded the game. We had I think I showed you the GameCube emulator on the Wii.
Yeah.
And we downloaded the game for GameCube, and we tried playing Nicktoons Unite 4 players.
Oh my.
And that game sucked.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
I was expecting it to.
It was like one of those games.
I was expecting you to say it was going to be one of the coolest crossover games ever.
There was barely much voice acting except for just the main cutscenes and because some of the other stuff was just text bubbles and stuff until you get to the cutscenes.
That's ridiculous.
And the gameplay is so simplistic that it's boring.
That sucks.
We were so bored. We were falling asleep while we were playing.
Would you put Punch Time Explosion over it?
Huh?
Would you put Punch Time Explosion over it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's a rip off of Smash Brothers.
Because it's a rip off. All right. So yeah, Jimmy Tuna Power Hour. I'd say first one a solid 10 out of 10 out of 10. I don't know. I just say I'm not even gonna say a number system. Just say check it out.
That's a good watch.
Number 2. And it's
the first one. I would say the
follow-up.
first one's. It's probably. If I had to rate it, the first one, yes, I would say I can safely say it's one of my favorite crossovers ever.
Yeah, it's a great
I can't think of anything. I can't. There's a lot of good crossovers, but I can't think of anything better than this. It's just this is one of the greatest TV crossovers ever.
Very true. I mean, this is the one that's held. This is the crossover that is held up as the standard.
Yeah.
Of a great crossover, and so. Number 2 tries, but isn't as good. Unfortunately, it's not like Empire Strikes Back. It just kind of is okay. It tries to make a good sequel. I think that it's still a good watch, but it's not going to be as great as the other one. Again, you're probably going to have to fill yourself in if you don't know about the additional content like anti-fairies and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And character development on Jimmy Neutron's side, and Professor Calamitous. There's a really good special.
Something I forgot. It's all of Jimmy's villains are so great.
Yeah, that's such a. It's such a really good show.
Yeah.
And then number 3, really good wrap up. Just really fun wrap up. The last 15 minutes are kind of like every average action movie where it's just kind of. Oh, well, we sort of ran out of ideas, so we're going to have this sort of really bland.
Yeah, it was literally... Dude, that ending to the third one looked literally they ran out of ideas. It was white space.
Right.
And, they all looked like refrigerator magnets. It was weird.
That was weird.
It was kind of stalling with time. It was kind of stalling with time, too. They were just the jerking for no reason. He, I can get why he's being a jerk to, Jimmy and Timmy, but for no reason, he was just, playing with the townspeople.
Yeah.
And being nice to Cindy and all their friends. That was weird.
That was weird. They didn't put any logic behind it. They didn't explain.
He was pretty much the jerking was pretty much God. He was
right. He was I'm gonna no. Yeah, they just made him like a God character. That's actually a good point. They just made him a God character and here, solve this. The end. So, really cool trilogy just to check out. Just
and apparently he lives in Timmy's world now, but they never. That would be cool if they just he's there as evidence of the crossover. So it's as canon evidence. If you just
mention him.
If you just see him in random episodes of Fairly Odd Parents, that would be cool.
Yeah, Butch Hartman, he's. Fairly Odd Parents is already on the chopping block anyway. It's going to Nicktoons Network, so it's not like it's golden days are done.
Should have Chloe. Should have the Joker name instead of freaking Chloe.
He should have done anything better than just Chloe, but you know.
Just like Timmy has to share his parents with Jerkinator. That'll be so much. That'll be better.
You know what? No, Timmy's parents would have been better than anything we've done so far. Just a show about,
a show about. Okay, like this is gonna make your your heart explode because you wish this was real. Like a show about Timmy's parents and Jimmy's parents living together.
That would have been. I think that would be a fun short. I don't think that would be a fun. I thought you were gonna say that. We learned that Danny Phantom, as a 10-year-old, had fairies.
Oh my god!
You get to see his adventures in a young Fenton house. With his sister being a little bit older, almost like Vicky, but not Vicky at the same time. Then you had these...
Jimmy gets stuck in Timmy's world, and he's so miserable that they have to give him fairly godparents.
Exactly.
And he has to share it with Timmy. And he still doesn't believe in magic, so God, they're trying to convince him to use his fairies.
We're making up.
Oh my god.
These are too good for Nickelodeon to ever invest in. That'll wrap it up for this episode of Cartoon Chat.
We make it ourselves, but Viacom will take us down.
Viacom will take us down. We could pitch it to them, and they'd take down our channel just because of that.
We don't like him.
That is Mark Warren. Find him on K9 Biscuits on YouTube and
Blasting
Facebook and Blasting Turbo Reports. Find me, of course, at Athemocracy. Always new animation videos. Stay tuned for more, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more.